So I found this bike on Facebook Marketplace. It was about 250 miles from here. I contacted the guy and we ended up working out a trade deal for a 1999 blue wide glide that I had. That bike has been featured in several videos on the channel. We did some maintenance stuff on it. We did the paint on it. I did a cam chest upgrade on it. All those kind of videos on that bike are somewhere else on the channel if you want to see those. Anyway, we ended up making a trade. I think it worked out great for both of us. We were both really happy with what we were getting in the trade, which is, the goal of what you want to accomplish. So I ended up with this Shovelhead. It ran and rode when I bought it. It did have a pretty good oil leak out of one of the rocker boxes. That was one thing I had to fix pretty much as soon as I got it home in order to ride it farther and kind of get an idea of the condition of the bike. Unfortunately, I dove into all that and decided I was too far in to start videoing it, so none of that stuff made it into a video. But anyway, got the oil leak fixed, got to ride the bike about 700 miles so far. And here in a few minutes, we'll talk about what I found out during that 700 miles. But right now, let's start with a close-up walk around so you can see what kind of condition the bike's in and what we're working with. All right, so let's start off talking about what a 1980 Fat Bob was, is, or what that meant. To do that, we need to start a little bit before that and talk about a super glide. So in 1971, Willie G. Davidson thought up the idea and started production of the super glide. How the super glide came to be is he noticed that a lot of people were buying the FL bikes, the little bit bigger Harley bikes, as opposed to a Sportster, which had the big twin engine, stripping parts off. They were, cutting fenders, all those kinds of things, taking the bags off, making a little bit more of a performance type bike or something a little bit lighter than an FL, however you want to look at that. So he saw a opportunity in the market there, and they started making the Super Glide from the factory. A Super Glide was a big twin frame, so you still had the Shovelhead engine, and then he put a lighter, smaller, skinnier Sportster front end on it. So that became the Super Glide. Now, what was a Fat Bob? A Fat Bob was basically, for lack of a better term, it was a upscale version of the Super Glide. So a Fat Bob is a regular Super Glide with different tanks on it. Okay, and so in 1980, a Fat Bob was made up from an 80-inch shovel. Okay, in 1980, they still made a 74 cubic inch shovel head and they made an 80 cubic inch shovel head. The Fat Bobs came with the 80-inch shovel head, the regular old 4-speed transmission, and instead of a single smaller tank like you would have had on a base model Super Glide, these had split larger tanks with a total capacity of 3.5 gallons between the two. That's one thing that's been changed on this bike. We'll talk about that in a minute. On a Fat Bob, you would have had a console up here with the gauges right here on top of the tank. But Fat Bob, you would have had the bigger split tanks. You would have had the console on the dash. 80-inch shovel. I think, off the top of my head, I think that's about the different things that you would have had on a Fat Bob as compared to a regular old Super Glide. As I alluded to a minute ago, this one, has some things that are still factory and some things that have been changed over the years. The wheels are still from the ones that came on it from the factory. They're cast aluminum, 9, I believe, spoke wheels. Somebody's going to count and tell me I'm wrong, which I probably am. But still got those. As I said, the tank has been changed at some point during the decades. These tanks hold a total of 5 gallons. Pretty cool. I hadn't seen one of these before. From what the little bit of research I can do on it, that tells me that is like an early, 80s or mid 80s, like an aftermarket replacement. It appears to still have the original front and rear fenders on it, the original front end, factory correct year range carburetor. This exhaust, one thing I thought was really cool. When I first saw this bike, I assumed that this was a aftermarket exhaust, but in some research, looking through parts catalogs and all that kind of stuff, this is a factory exhaust system off of a 1980 Fat Bob. And this thing really sounds pretty cool in my opinion, and I definitely don't have any plans to change that. Some other things that you've probably already noticed that have changed over the years. That rear caliper is an aftermarket replacement. Rear shocks are aftermarket. Air cleaners aftermarket. The bars, I'm not sure. Leave me a comment if you know, but I believe these are factory bars for a Harley, but I believe they're off of a different bike than a Fat Bob. I think a Fat Bob would have come with a different style bar. Somebody's done some custom paint work on this over the years. As you probably noticed, the paint is a kind of a semi-gloss black, where from the factory they would have had, I think there was 4 different colors. Vivid black was one of them, a red, a blue, I believe some sort of tan. But anyway, this was not a factory color, so this has been repainted. It does have these really cool hand-painted pinstripes. This was a thing back when I was a young guy, that people would paint these with a little, 7-hair paintbrush and a lot of steady hand and patience. But it's got them on the fenders, it's got them on the tank. All these are painted. That's not a decal or anything. It looks like they obviously probably use some sort of stencil for the shovelhead part of it. Those lines are just too crisp and whatever for it to be hand done. But some of these stripes around the tank, you can see just a little bit of mistakes in them here and there, a little bit of waviness. So I would say that those are probably hand painted. And then we got more stuff up here on the front fender. So I think all that stuff's really cool, really period correct. I would classify this bike as a definite survivor. I mean, sure, a few things have been changed over the years, but we're not looking for a 100% restoration or every little nut and bolt is exactly the way it came from the factory. The seat, I forgot to mention the seat. Obviously, that's been changed. But anyway, what I'm trying to do with this bike, the goal that I'm trying to get to is a reliable 1980 Shovelhead. You can jump on it, it'll start, it'll run good. You can ride it 200 miles in a day comfortably. You're not going to be worried about breaking down on the side of the road or leaking oil everywhere. Just one of those bikes that, again, reliable. You can jump on it and go. You don't have to worry. You don't have to fool with it every time you want to take it out of the garage. So one of the first things I did with this bike when I got it home was that thing that you should do with any new bike that you get, or new to you bike, is to go over it from front to back, safety check things, get an idea of what kind of overall condition the bike is in, change fluids, check tire pressure, check your brake pads, your chain adjustment, all those sort of safety things, so that when you take it out to put shakedown miles on it, it's not going to fall apart and throw you in the ditch, or you're not going to lock something up because it's out of oil from being sitting all those years. Anyway, did that stuff, changed the fluids, things were in good shape. So once I got that rocker box oil leak fixed, we could take it out and put some miles on it. The initial checks and adjustments I did really didn't find anything too far out of whack. It had the major oil leak on the rocker box. It's got a couple other ones that we're going to get to here in a minute and get fixed. But overall, it was in running and riding condition, and really in good condition for being 46 years old. Somebody took care of it during its life. So what did I find wrong with it during this test ride miles that we need to get fixed? One thing is the calipers. The caliper bushings, where the caliper mounts to the fork. I'm assuming that's what it is. I haven't torn it apart to look at it yet, but calipers are loose. Those bolts are tight, but where the bolts go through the fork, I believe, is what's loose, those bushings that I'm talking about. But that guy rattles around pretty good. It's not falling off of there. It's not necessarily unsafe to ride this way, but it does make all kinds of noise and absolutely sounds like something's about to fall off as you're going slow. Once you apply the front brake, the noise kind of goes away. As you can probably see, we've got a little bit of an oil leak problem back here. That's all coming, I don't know exactly where it's coming from just yet. I do know some of that is engine oil, some of that is transmission oil. It's all coming from back in here behind the primary. So what we're going to do, we're going to take the inner primary off and seal up everything behind there. These had kind of an elaborate system for oiling the primary chain that I'll talk about in the primary video that I'm going to make. So we're going to change that. We're going to turn this into what they call an isolated primary in another video, which is going to make it a setup like the newer bikes are, where the primary is sealed. It contains its own oil supply, just like the bikes for the next, or excuse me, or the bikes for the last 30 years have been, or at least Harley's anyway. The transmission seal is also behind here, very likely a leak, because a lot of that, like I said, is transmission oil and some of it is engine oil. Anyway, point being, we're going to take all this apart. We're going to replace every gasket, seal, whatever back there, make some upgrades so we can isolate this primary. Whatever leaks are back there, we're going to get them fixed while we have it all apart. So as far as the way this bike runs, it actually runs really well. Gets unbelievable gas mileage for what it is. Over 700 miles, I checked every tank, and I'm getting roughly 50 to 52 miles to the gallon out of this bike over that 700 miles, which is, in my mind, is ridiculously good for 1980 technology, an 80 cubic inch engine, 4 speeds. I mean, that's amazing. So one problem that it does have that kind of links in with that excellent gas mileage is it has a very light throttle sneeze through the carburetor. Okay, what that means is you're riding along, all of a sudden it kind of spits, backfires, coughs, whatever you want to call it, back through the air cleaner. What does that, what makes that happen is a lean condition. It's not quite getting enough gas, enough fuel mixed in with the air in the carburetor. So we need to increase that amount of fuel to fix that. These were notorious for that problem from the factory because Harley jetted them really lean in order to meet emission standards of the time. That's what's still going on. I don't know if this is still jetted the way it was from the factory or not, but we're going to find out. What we're going to do, we're going to take this factory style butterfly carburetor off of here, clean it up, rebuild it, figure out what jets are in it. I've got an idea of what jets we need based on the difference in fuel from what they had in 1980 to what we have available nowadays with the ethanol mix, all that kind of stuff. Kind of where this 80-inch shovel will run best. So those are kind of the main things I want to get fixed here pretty quickly so I can continue to ride this bike the rest of the summer. It's mid-August right now, so we've got a couple months left of the riding season around here where I live. Really want to ride the bikes more this year. So I'm going to knock out those few little things there to kind of make it more reliable this winter. I plan on rebuilding the front end. We've got some fork seal leaks here, not unheard of on a 46-year-old bike, probably never been touched. I'm going to knock that out this winter. We've got a little bit of loose foot pegs where, they make parts to fix that. So we'll get into that this winter. I think that's about it, to be honest with you. I can't really think of anything else off the top of my head that's broke, wore out, not working right, leaking, whatever, that I haven't already talked about. So that's been the quick walk around of this new to me 1980 Harley-Davidson Fat Bob. One other thing that I wanted to mention here, I found out, I didn't know this before, but I found out you can get a build sheet on almost all of the somewhat modern Harley-Davidson motorcycles. I thought I could get one for this. What a build sheet is, it's like a spec sheet, a birth certificate, if you will, of how the motorcycle came from the factory. It should tell you when it was built, what dealer it went to when it left the factory, the various specs of what it came with as far as what wheels, what engine size it came with, what color it was when it left the factory, all those kind of little details. You can get that build sheet for free. All you have to do is call Harley-Davidson customer service with your VIN number, Tell them you're looking for a build sheet or whatever information they can give you on your bike, and give them the VIN number. When I talked to the Harley-Davidson customer service people about this bike, the lady seemed to think, she was pretty confident that they would have the data on this bike even though it was 45 years old. The way she explained it, old bikes like that are kept on microfilm, microfiche. Somebody has to physically sit down and sort through the pages and pages of microfiche to find this VIN number and give me that build sheet. They were willing to do that. It was free. She just said it will take a couple weeks because we got to get somebody to sit down and look for it. A week or two later, I got an email, and unfortunately, they couldn't find this specific VIN number, being as old as it is, being the transition from the AMF-owned years back to not AMF owned. I don't know if I want to call it publicly owned or privately owned, whatever. Not AMF owned. In that transition, this particular bike record disappeared. Anyway, if you want that for your bike, if you want to see if they got it, the customer service phone number, 1-800-258-2464. Again, just call with your VIN, explain, hey, I'm looking for a build sheet. The lady knew exactly what I was talking about. I think she acted like it was something they do all the time. So I think that's where we wrap this video up. Next video, we're going to get into Super Clean is sending me some products to try out. They contacted me, said, we'll send you some free stuff. Just give us a review in your video, even if it sucks. So I'm going to do that next video, hose everything down with the Super Clean and tear into the primary to get all that sealed up. Leave me some comments on what you thought, what else you want to see. Check out other videos on the channel. We've got a little bit of everything: cars, trucks, motorcycles, maintenance stuff, diagnostics, repair, performance modifications, all that kind of stuff. So check it out. I'm sure there's going to be other stuff that you hopefully find useful. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.